Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Dark Souls 3 Ring City DLC walkthrough. This is going to be the first sequence where we move through the Dreg Heap and we go all the way up to the Demon Prince. The particular character that I'm using is my SL120 build. He's had his stats modified a little bit because, as you know, the heavy infusions were buffed a little bit, and the Exile Greatsword became one of the strongest tools in the game, and I wanted to experiment a little bit with it, and you're looking at footage before they re-nerfed it again. So, I have like 70 strength on this build, or 50 odd strength or something, so I've got quite a lot of strength, and I'm using a pretty slow weapon, and it proved to be quite fun. It is New Game +5 cycle here, so you're going to see rather spongy enemies, you're going to see hits that do an increased amount of damage, but for the purposes of a walkthrough, if you are struggling with this content, I'm going to be able to show you how to get through it, and how to hit all the mainstays, kill the bosses, and then get to the end and get what you need. And you are also going to notice that the frame rate here is going to be rather questionable, and it is of course because I'm playing on Xbox One. So if you've never seen how the other half live, enjoy the suffering. The build I'm using, other than a ton of strength, is going to dress a little bit like Gale, wearing Gale's armour, because I wanted to kind of do like a Gale run in this, and I had the intention of using his sword, and then I realised I didn't have the soul, which was kind of awkward. But now that we've done the first area, we've hit the bonfire in the Earthen Peak, we're going to be running the gauntlet against the angels, and this is the pre-patch angel. So if you don't know, FromSoft actually nerfed the damage that this creature does because it was a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, I'd take a few deaths, definitely. It'd be a little bit awkward, but I always got through. So, it was programmed to be quite a nightmare, and I believe that what they wanted the player to do here is they wanted you to take cover and take salvation away from these bombardments, and then perhaps bait the angel into doing the curse where he spins around, so then you have an opportunity to run to the next piece of cover, and you just play this little cat and mouse game against him. But it kinda never worked that way. You had to get lucky more than anything else, so I feel like the idea of being chased by this just blitzkrieg of an enemy never kinda worked too well. And in your first playthrough, when you didn't exactly know where to go, and you didn't know that by attacking those weird prawn men gets rid of this particular enemy from respawning, it just felt like they couldn't think of a good idea to fill this zone, so instead of giving you a pretty interesting homage to Earthen Peak for us to explore and get all nostalgic, instead we didn't have any time to look around and see the sights because we were being perpetually bombarded. And in my first playthrough of this, I really didn't like this area at all. I didn't like any of the early areas because I felt like you just couldn't enjoy them for what they were because there were so many features added here that made them kind of annoying. But now that I've done them a few more times, I can definitely see the design of it and I can appreciate what they were trying to do in some ways, but I still feel it's kind of baffling in the grand scheme of things. So once you kill that prawn man, one of the angels that will be giving you a hard time in this area will disappear. But I believe that there's still going to be the one who attacks you when you're on the branches, when you go towards the other bonfire in this area, because he is his prawn guy, what you have to kill to get rid of him, so he can't astral project and be an asshole, is next to the shortcut that people have found here. So from the beginning bonfire, you can run to the left, and there's a little hut on its own. If you jump off that hut's roof, you can land on the branches at the bottom and skip that area. It can be a little tricky to do. It's much easier to do now that the damage on the angels has been tanked, but the angels can still kill you if you get carried away, especially on the new game cycle, so be very careful. And you can completely skip all of this, messing around with the weird thief guys who are assholes and doing incredible damage and swing really fast, and then of course the desert pyromancer who's just unlimited pyromancies, chucking them at you, breaking the rules of the game, rolling around using a whip, and using almost frame perfect inputs to beat what you do. But I've got a pretty good strategy for her that involves spacing her and stun locking her, and hopefully that can help you on this particular sequence. And the strategy is simple. You get 2 hits in a hit string before the enemy can recover and do something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward and get as close to her as I can. I'm going to bait out that fan attack that's the new pyromancy, and then I'm going to get her to do it twice, and on the second hit I'm going to hit her. And then I'm going to hit her twice and I'm going to back up. see what she does. And all I'm going to do is move closer, bait the 2 fans, and then hit the 3rd fan. Sometimes she can roll out of it like that, but if you press it sooner rather than later, you should catch her every time. And she's going to flask, so just get ready for the flasks and then hit her twice during the flask animation. And be careful of that. If you push too aggressively, she'll do a roll attack with the whip. And if you're in the middle of an animation, you'll not be able to cancel it quickly like she can, so you're going to take a full brunt of a NG+5 whip, or whatever new game you're on. It's going to sting regardless, but just keep swinging away, taking that life down. You can see that the damage here is pretty ridiculous. It was a really strong sword, and it still is, even after the patch. And then once you pop that lady down, she's going to drop that pyromancy, which I hope you get more enjoyment out of it than I did, because I don't really use pyromancies, so unfortunately it wasn't the drop I was looking for. But we're now going to be moving on to the important part of the video, which is the boss fight. So, as you come up here, by the way, there's going to be an angel bombarding you. He doesn't seem to be here. Oh, there he is. Do you see him just there? So, do you see the plant to my right? You can use that root system to drop down into the safe spot if you go the other way. But if you come this way, I recommend that you roll across this and get to this little lip. Because if you run, every hit that you take while running is counted as a counter hit, I believe, and they'll do more damage. So you stand more of a chance of getting counter hit off the roll and surviving than you do trying to run and getting counter hit continuously and guaranteed. Also, be careful as you fall just then, because if you don't mash B and get your roll, you'll be stuck in that animation of landing, and they can just bukkake you then. So you can either follow the route down this system and get rid of the angel for future playthroughs or for future run-throughs that area, or you can go for the bonfire and take on the 2 demons. And the demons are interesting. On my first playthrough, I felt like there was a lot of chaos happening in the first phase, but I felt fundamentally that it was fair, and I still feel that way. The second phase is just tricky because if you make mistakes, you have to do the first phase again, and I still feel that way. I really like this fight. There's a couple of things that I'm going to talk about which I wish was a little bit differently, but for the most, everything about it to me seems kind of interesting. The things I have issue with are when the demons cool down, I think they shouldn't be able to punch you. And I know what you're thinking, an enemy not able to attack? What are you talking about? Well, when they cool down, the demons are usually quite passive, and they will, at range, fire projectiles at you, which are these toxic projectiles that have really good telegraphs. But there are these rare situations where the AI on the cooled down demon will decide to move forward, and he'll move towards you while you're fighting the other one. And when he's in that range, he can do a swipe. And I just don't think that his AI should ever make him prioritize closing the distance to you and doing the swipe. I think it should make him do those projectiles and then focus on powering up. Because it leads to just these awkward moments of having a really good run where you're being aggressive and you're dealing good damage, and then out of nowhere you get hit by the one that's cooled down. And it's really jarring and really strange, and it can lead to frustration. But as far as strategy goes, depending on which one of the demons that you kill will depend on what the final phase is. If you kill the bad one, which I think is whichever one, the guy on the right, the guy on the left, the one on the left gives you the bad phase, the one on the right gives you the good phase. So let's see when I crack this guy which one it is. So you want to kill Demon in Pain. Demon in Pain is going to give you the laser phase in the second fight. Demon from below is going to give you Spirit Bomb, Crazy, Bukkake, Laser of Doom, Blob, Fear from the Sky, Watch Out for Alleluia, You're Gonna Die mode, which is a lot trickier to deal with, but still doable. Just on a no damage run, it's a nightmare. You want the lasers, it's free damage and it's easy to dodge. But in this particular phase, these enemies aren't that defensed, so everything that you hit them with is going to do decent damage, but the one thing you really want to use is bleed. Using bleed on this particular weapon is not the cleverest idea I've had. I'm just kind of putting it on there just for the sake of it. If I get a bleed nice, it doesn't really matter because my damage is so strong. The general philosophy of this encounter is to separate them so one person is firing projectiles and the other one is engaging you. Beat up the one who's engaging you, or bait him into doing the stomping, like this move right now. See this? He does a little bit of an animation to tell you it's happening, and then he'll go past you. If you go under it, you can attack the other one, and you'll get a little bit of time to beat up the one who is not turned on, like this guy. But we're lucky here, so we're killing the one who is engaged. And a lot of the attacks that the demons do, you can simply run past them. You can walk to the side of them or run through their legs, and none of them will hit you. You just have to be conscious that if they adjust position, they can hit you because of the awkward nature of hitboxes. But there's the stun, there's the execution with the Hornet Ring, and then it's just one-on-one. He's powering up now, so you have a massive opportunity to hit this guy. If you hit him a certain amount of times, you can get a stun and you can do a nice riposte. But don't get too greedy here. This is the moving forward slam attack. Just go under it, hit him from behind, and be careful on this left-hand side, because that slash will hit you. It's a lot like the Blood-Starved Beast. If you stand behind him on that side, you can hit by it. But there's an R2 into R1 for the riposte, and that should kill him. Very close to anyway. We should be able to run up and finish him off. So now that the first phase is done, I'm going to swap to a faster weapon, because I prefer a faster weapon for this guy. You get a ton of time to do stuff here, guys, so just take your time. Don't stand too close or you will get hit by his AoE. I'm a little bit close there, but apparently I was confident. So I buff, I put a regen shield on, and I go back in with a curved sword so I can start stacking bleed. And all you want to do here is stay close to this guy and watch what he does. When he charges that, sprint towards him, chase him down, hit his head once, and be prepared for a reprisal. This is his double fist of doom, and it hit me, because I dodged it at the wrong time. The best way to dodge that is to see the difference between the two air moves and then sprint towards the camera and run away from it. If you run away from it, it's way easier to dodge than it is to time. You can time it though, I've done it many times. This is the laser move. The only thing you need to know here is stand on his back leg, hit him, and when he stops, back up a little bit, because this can hit you when it begins. After it begins and you see the end of that visual effect, you can keep slashing him, and then just watch out for his moves. Hug the back of his legs, watch out for his swipes when he jumps away, and keep hitting the head. This is his normal combo. Get behind it, hit him once or twice, see what he does, dodge what he does, sorry. Be careful if his step back readjustment swipes, they're the ones that might hit you. Keep on hitting that face. This is the jump away, so now you can run away from it or you can dodge it like I did then. The iframes on that dodge are precise. You have to really wait or you'll get hit by a lingering hitbox. There's the flame, push towards the boss. That's his little shout to tell me he's doing some kind of physical attack. Get behind him, hit him in the legs, watch out for his dash away. That's him throwing a fireball, but we're too close so it doesn't matter. That's an attack after the jump. Dodge it on instinct. There's the knockdown. Here's the riposte after an R2. Do I miss the riposte? No, there you go. Teleport riposte. Will not kill him because he's got a lot of defenses, so we can go in there, hit him a few more times. There's the taunt for the attack. Get behind it. Do a couple of swipes. There's the turnaround hit with the streak of fire, and there's the bleed and the kill. Aside from the one sloppy dodge, that was a really strong fight. On New Game Plus, they do have a little bit more HP, but they have a fuck ton more of defense, especially in the second phase. But that strategy should help players of all levels get through that fight, hopefully. And the more you do it, the stronger you'll get at it. And the only thing left to do here is to go and pick up the flag, take it to the cliffside, and you'll be teleported to the Ringed City. You're not going to see me do that in these videos. I trust that you'll understand where to go here, guys. We'll just be picking up directly in the Ringed City. And make sure you adjust your equipment accordingly so that you can take on the rest of this DLC. But there is a bonfire now here in the Prince's Lair. How would you rate that boss fight? I think it's really good. You know, my problems with it are very slight now because I've learnt it to an extent where I can do it rather confidently. And that's the best feeling in Souls history, once you get those bosses down and you know what they're doing. But thank you very much for watching. I hope the walkthrough helps, and you take care now.